All right, we have a game really kind of like obscure starting for him. He takes the 10 yen spot. That's actually not a bad spot to take. That's kind of a weird play, but that's actually not a bad spot to take, honestly, because it does actually it does actually control a lot of it does actually control a lot of ladders and stuff. Like this one, for instance, yeah, it controls a lot of ladders. So I'm guessing he wants to do this. I might actually have to, but I can just go on top, I guess, if I really need to. I don't really want to connect that, but I feel like I almost have to. That's probably not a good idea, but whatever. I haven't really played this kind of the Tengen move makes it kind of difficult because I feel like I do have to yeah, he's obviously not playing towards influence. He's obviously just playing towards he's obviously just playing towards territory. That's not going to work so well this time because I'm going to do this. See, even with that Tengen and with that not working, I can just go out, and it doesn't really benefit him to do any of this stuff. And specifically here, he's playing incredibly aggressively, but that doesn't necessarily benefit him any. I got another message thing, but that this doesn't necessarily benefit him because I can like. I mean, specifically, I feel like I get such a huge advantage by doing this. It is sort of annoying when he actually invades because he does have all three of the corners. But realistically, I don't think it matters. Now, the thing is, I'm actually not that good at attacking this. Uh, this is not like my specialty isn't like attacking these things. Um, I'm not all that familiar with like attacking such groups, unfortunately. He's probably going to try to disconnect here, which actually is problem. I hope he does that. Which is somewhat problematic, but not really. He might try to run that. I'm just going to take these two. Or he might try to run these two as well. I want him to actually do this. This doesn't do anything. That's just a bad move. I don't know what that actually does because, see, all I really have to do is do this. I feel like. And then he can't do anything. I mean, he could try this, but I would just extend. And I don't get what he's actually trying to do here. He's just honestly wasting a lot. Like, first of all, you give me that. And you really don't have a method of attack is the problem. Like, for him, the problem is he has no method of attack. Oh, wait, I messed up there, dang. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That was bad by me. That was bad by me. But I mean, I've gotten enough. I've actually gotten enough out of this that it doesn't truly matter all that much. And if he does this, I can actually come in here first. Not really sure what he's trying to do, actually. Yeah, see, the thing is, like, if you are actually trying to fight liberties with this group, you're not going to win.
Yoyomi now starts.
You are really not going to beat me if you're trying to fight liberties for this group. Because you, like, legitimately, don't truly have a shot at this. I think he forgot about this up here. Why? He doesn't have a way to live. There's no way he's going to kill me here. Just going to go ahead and do this. This just confuses me because this is obviously a ladder. I think like this is just like desperate people trying to play like a desperate game against me. Even if this was alive, I would still be ahead. So he actually won, and I mean he actually lost. So we're going to review this game because it's a really fast game of how I actually use influence. And why letting me take multiple corners and just invading 3-3 is not a good idea. It's a good idea if your opponent doesn't actually know how to use influence, but as you move up in rank, you will understand that your opponents get better and better at influence, and you can't actually play this kind of game. So playing this kind of game, you're obviously trying to get influence over territory. And the thing is, like, just to start, I probably should have I honestly probably just should have played this. I honestly probably just should have played this and let him go, let him do this. Because generally, yeah, he gets a couple points, but opens up so much territory. I did this move just for the Sente. Because if he does this, I can just go take another corner. That generally is not that great of a move. Yes, I can't do that. Yes, I can't like kind of Atari this, but now you just have a weak group here. I mean, yeah, my group here is sort of weak, but at the same time, like your Tenkenstone, it does have a little bit of use, but not all that much use, you know? So he does that. This, I was just kind of afraid of this, and this is actually pretty big if I go out this way. So technically, I probably could have done something like this, and I think this is fine. If he does this, you just kind of go this way. And realistically, I think this is perfectly fine. I do actually think this is perfectly fine. Yes, he does get territory here, but your influence here is like a lot. So M plus like those two are kind of like ensnared at this point. And there's not a great way for him to actually get out of this. I mean, you can just do this, actually. Actually, no, you can't. No, you actually have to Atari. But regardless, there's not actually a great way for him to actually get out. Because regardless of what he actually does, you're still one ahead. Oh, sorry. You're still kind of like one ahead, right? So this is not good for him, regardless of what he actually plays. So I probably shouldn't have I probably shouldn't have bothered to answer this. Like I've actually never played this particular variation before because no one plays this. So I wasn't sure what to do there. So I just went ahead and answered it. But I honestly should have just left that alone and played like this other corner. Of course, I'm going to be a little tougher here with this. Like, he's giving me way too much influence on the outside. This is like territory versus influence. He gets the territory in here, but I get the influence out here. But this is not a fair trade in an open board because you don't get enough territory to offset my influence. He does that. Of course, I'm going to be a little tougher here. I'm just going to go down and just take the territory myself. And this is the first time I've seen anyone do this. That's obviously a loss. I can't do this because he's thinking I can't do this because the ladder doesn't work. And you're right, the ladder doesn't actually work. But that's not really all that relevant because I can just kind of like retreat here and you're still stuck with this stone. And plus, like, that's always Sente. So he does this. I'm going to Hane because the Hane is like really important. He does that. I'm going to do that so those two stones don't die. He does this, does that. Then I was going to do this next if he doesn't do that. So, and then I'm going to fly up because this really, I don't think this is really a thing. Yeah, like this is just dead. So he can't actually do this. And this doesn't really work as of right. This doesn't really work as of right now because that puts you in Atari. So there's nothing right there. He's like, yes, there is a clamp, and I would have to connect, but at this point, this is pointless because like then I would just kind of like surround these stones, and you would still be behind. Like your 3 corner territory doesn't equal this territory, and plus I still have way more outside influence than you. So this is the problem with this. He does that. There are cutting problems here. There are actually cutting problems here. I mean, it's pretty tightly wrapped right now, so it may not actually matter all that much. And this is still an Atari, so it doesn't truly work right now. But later on, there are actually cutting problems in there, and of course, there's also like stuff like this later on, which is kind of painful. But right now it doesn't really matter because his stones are actually still in jeopardy. So he does that. I'm going to go ahead and take the territory. He does that. I'm going to split his groups, or at least try to split his groups. I don't want his groups connecting. I want to make as many weak groups as possible. Of course, I'm going to protect this down here at this point because I don't really want to, because like this Moyo is getting kind of big, and if he doesn't do anything, I'm going to like live down here. So he attacks here. I don't actually know how to answer this. Going on top, that actually might be the best answer. But then like he has expansion both ways. So I don't know if I actually answered the best here. This is definitely not the way to go. That's way too small for something that you've built like that. Maybe something like this is just fine. But then, like he would actually have a pretty hard time. He would actually have a fairly hard time, I think, getting 2 eyes down here. But there is eye space here, so I decided to pincer one way. I think if I were him, I probably would have just jumped up, but that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm going to do that. Although, like, this particular thing, like, it might just be better to do this. I'm not exactly sure how to answer this correctly. Or you could also take, you honestly could take this route. I don't really know about that route, honestly. I just wasn't really sure about it. So I went ahead and, like, got some eye space for myself down here. I was also thinking about, there was also, like, when he did this, there was also a thought about doing this, because I'm pretty sure the ladder this way doesn't work, because I have this stone up here. But I knew that if I did this, like, the correct response would actually go on top. and that's just giving him way too much out here. That would destroy my Moyo, and it's very hard to, this is like strong, much stronger now. So I definitely didn't want to do that. So yeah, if he attacks, for those of the lower SDK players, if he actually attacks, just go down here. Oh, if you do this, I'm going to do this. But then you you have like those kind of forcing moves. And even this, I definitely didn't want to give this up. Because like that puts a little bit of threat here, but I mean like it destroys my center Moyo, so I wasn't going to do that. So I'm going to attack his entire group. That's really not worth answering. This, I feel like you don't have to answer this. I feel like you would just jump or something. I mean, at least for me, I would just jump. Because, I mean, sure, cool, but I mean, he would have to do something like this, and then I would just connect. And attacking this connected group, yes, he gets the territory down here, but that's just something that you have to give him, like, when he's that thick. This is why, like, you getting the corners is not really all that, is actually not that good, because he can actually just use the influence and get way more territory than you. But this particular game is actually pretty playable. It's still playable, pretty playable. If you do this, I'm obviously going to do something like this. So, like, I would say black is definitely ahead here. I would still say black is ahead. But, this is definitely more playable than we got. Like, doing this, it lets me attack way too easily. And with this, honestly, you just have to realize that, like, jumping out here and trying to connect the two groups is way more important. And if I do something like this, then you can come out here and have, like, stuff over here. I know he's thinking like, I don't want to give up this territory, but if you jump out here and I just take this, which I actually might, and you just connect here, yeah, you give me territory, but at least your groups are safer. I mean, the thing is, like, with a situation like this where you let your opponent get so much influence, you're not going to be able to come out of it not giving your opponent any territory, because he's just way too strong for that. And honestly, I wouldn't even go there. I would probably just play here or something at this point. No, actually, I would play the star point, because I mean this isn't really playable. Yeah, that's not really playable. So it doesn't matter. I would just take the star point here. But like you connecting and then just letting me divide your two groups, now you have two groups that are kind of in danger. Now, given the fact that when you did this, I probably should have just came on top or something, but because then this isn't really that good for me. I probably wouldn't go for that. But when he does this, I extend out. I'm willing to do this because this group isn't in any. I was actually more afraid of this cut than. I was actually way more afraid of this cut, because now I can't do that. I was way more afraid of the cut. But had he done that, there is a good chance I would have just done this. But then you have like this. Then you do have this, and I'm not alive down here. So that's also very, very problematic. So I would have to consider that as well. Definitely would have to consider this, because I don't have too many liberties down here if I do that. So I don't really know how, I don't actually know how I would have handled this. Because this is actually a really, really sticky situation for me to handle if you cut. And he definitely should have cut it. He definitely should have cut it here. Because like now these are actually under threat. Now this is actually a pretty critical move. I was afraid that he would do this, because I really don't have a good way to answer this, honestly. I don't. I have to make sure that group is alive down there. And if I let him actually connect, I still have to do this and probably take a gote, and then he can just jump out and attack these stones. So like the cut's actually pretty crucial there. So like that's a good move. But the follow-up's really good. You just cut. And I can't really do much. I mean, this is definitely not good for me. That's definitely not good for me, because that's actually dead. And at this point, I don't have a way to... I don't really have a way to kill these 4 stones, so that would just be dead. So like this cut's very, very problematic. That's a key move that he actually missed. And that's definitely one I should have actually been watching out for. It might have been better if I just flew out this way. Yeah, he probably would have been able to live easier, but it might have been better if I just flew out that way. Or like if I just did this and I don't know, maybe do something like, not exactly sure, like, because this cut's always there. This cut's always there if I do that. So maybe like something like this would have been better. I don't know. I don't exactly know. This cut's not here right now. This cut's not yet here right now because I can just go this way. And he can't really do anything. Well, no, no, then he has, well, I guess this doesn't really count. Yeah, then he actually has this. So the cut's definitely the cut's definitely like a problem. The cut's definitely a problem right now. No, I can just do this. Like right now, no, I can just do this. That's not really the cut's not really a problem yet. If I do this, the cut's not really a problem. But you know, like this is really kind of bitchy to play against because he has stuff like this, and it's quite hard to play. It is actually quite hard to play against something like this. Yeah, it is alive, but it kind of sucks for me, you know. So that cut actually caused me a lot of problem. This cut would be incredibly hard for me to answer. I would probably have to try to just like, I would definitely have to try to make do or something here. But you know, like if I just play that, if I probably would have to play something like that. And then just do something like this. And that leaves him with just a lot more options, just going this way. And if I take this, then, I mean, like, this Hane is just, you know, this Hane is really good. There's also problems, like, in here if I do this, but you probably wouldn't do that right now. So, like, that cut's actually a really big problem. That just basically fixes all my problems. So this is definitely a bad move. That's the cut right there. Cut right there is key. So in a shape like that, if you ever face that shape, always like in this kind of shape, when you have this thickness built up here, always consider what happens if you cut. Because that's always going to be one of the moves. Now I'm no longer afraid I have this up here. I'm just going to go ahead and take these two stones because this is a bit of territory for me as well. He does this. I'm going to go here. He does that. I'm just going to go up here. Because remember, these three stones aren't actually connected to this group. If I kill this group, I basically win. So he does that. I shouldn't have been able to kill this group. But see, like, I shouldn't have actually been able to kill that group. My whole thing, my whole thing was actually to get him to do this stuff so it makes me stronger on the outside. So if I want to attack this group, I can later. Because after this is over, let's just say he plays here or something and lives. Like, I can always come down and play something like this and attack his group here. And then, like, and realistically, like, the goal of, like, let's see, the goal of attacking his group here is not actually to kill this group. I mean, if I can kill it, I'll kill it. But, you know, he honestly has a lot of these type of moves to actually, like, live. But, like, it's actually, the purpose of doing this is basically letting him get the gote and live, and then getting the star point, or, like, getting, like, you know, this point here. And getting, like, this territory down here. That's actually the point. Like, getting all this territory down here. That's actually, like, the key here. I mean, this actually becomes really big now, obviously. But, you know, like, the whole point is actually just getting the territory and, like, getting some good opportunities here. But, of course, like, if you're going to let me kill you, I'm just going to go ahead and kill you. That's a bad move because you can't really threaten this group right now. That doesn't really do anything, and allowing me to do that just gives me Sente. Because this, I mean, you could try to do this, but it's a hard sell. Like, you know, this is a hard sell. But this is like gote, so I don't exactly know. Remember, like, this is, yeah, like, that actually might, no, that doesn't work, because I can just do that. But But yeah, I mean, you could try to do something down here. I think you would almost have to try to do something down here, but this is a problem. This is definitely problematic for you. That's definitely problematic for him. Like if he does this, that's actually a better move. I can't actually do that. Yeah, I can't actually do this. Then he has this move on 6. Yeah, so he can force up here. And then he can do this. I would have to do this, and then he would come down this way. That could definitely be problematic for me. There's all kinds of exchanges that can actually happen here, but I probably wouldn't end up doing this, but like that can actually be quite problematic for me. But he's not really out of the thing either, because there's that move as well. So I don't know how this actually ends up. This is a pretty complicated fight. And also like things like this are things like this are always sente for me. So I'm not exactly sure how this would actually end up. I would actually have to see like how this ends up. Can't really do that because that would essentially kill him. Because all I have to do is live this, and then this is kind of screwed. So yeah, there's a big complex fight in here with this, but you know, I'm gonna do this first. That mitigates a lot of the effect here. Connect. That's not like the thing is like this is the other losing move because when I do this, it gets rid of everything here. It literally gets rid of everything here because you can still do this, right? You can still do this, but at this point, I'm just gonna Atari this way because like this group, like this stone isn't connected to this group. And all I really have to do is kill this group. So that's another big blunder he makes because this move doesn't actually do anything except for help me fix one of my cutting points. And now you are completely lost at this point. Because like this doesn't even work anymore. You have to do this. I just crawl out a little bit and then I start like I just come out here. Actually no, I have to crawl out a little bit. I probably have to crawl out a little bit more. And then I just start tightening the liberties. Like this doesn't really work because of that. So that doesn't really work. And if you just let me out, you're going to have a lot of problems. Yes, you might be able to kill that, but essentially you're letting me kind of like kill this group in here, and that's going to cause you to lose anyways. Because remember, this isn't actually connected to this, and now like you're going to have issues with like this group as well. You're definitely going to have issues with this group as well when the liberties are like this tight. And your problem is that like if you do this, I can come down here and now kill this group. So you have a lot of issues. And the thing is like if you do this, I'm just going to do this and kill this group. So it's kind of like pick your poison. Yes, you can get a lot of territory, but it's not enough to offset all of that. So that's going to be very problematic for you. So like this is very bad. Exchanging this for this is really bad. You have to consider like how all these things affect other groups as well. That's the thing. Of course, haneing that, like that gets me the ladder right there. And that puts like your group here in a little bit more danger as well. I'm going to come in here first. If you decide to make the trade, very well. If you decide to make the trade, like I'm very much willing to take this down here because that's going to be much more territory than you got off the corners. Yes, you could actually live on. I'm pretty sure you could live here. I probably wouldn't be able to stop you. You can definitely probably live there, but you know, giving me sente here, and then I would probably do something like this. Giving me sente here and all of that pretty much means that white would lose as well. There's just too much territory given up both here and like just I have like that on that corner. And this isn't really, I mean, like, yes, you could look at the cut here, but at this point, I would just go ahead and do this. You know, like there's too many problems here. There's too many problems along this side. So he doesn't do that. I'm going to take, I do this because I'm going to want to take this territory first. That might have actually not been a good move, because if I was him, I would have just done this and attempt to live that way. Yes, you do have to do that. Yes, if I do that, you can pretty much just essentially live here. If I take that, I don't know, like this is basically alive because you have 4. So I can't actually take that. I would have to do something like this. Like the living down here part is still not that easy. Living down here is definitely still not that easy. When white does this move, you don't do this and give him the free Tari. You definitely just connect. You definitely just connect. He might do this, but you know the thing is, like if he does this, I can just come across too. I don't really care if he. Oh, he can't even kill those 2 right now. But even if he could, it doesn't really matter. Because like as long as you can come across, connect, and connect, like as long as you kill this group, you're gonna win. So these 2 stones aren't that important. As long as you can disconnect these two stones from the rest of this group. So at this point, he's pretty much dead. Of course, connecting that's like the worst idea because it gives me a free move. I didn't want to do this and give him like a free move over here or something. I don't know how much that would have actually mattered, but I really didn't want to do that and give him a free move over there. And the thing is, like, if I did this, this would be kind of problematic. I would have to do this, and then he could do this. I think this is alive. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's alive. So I really didn't want to do that. And realistically, now that I look back at it, this move was fine. That's a big loss if he takes. I shouldn't have made this. I really shouldn't have made this move. I probably should have just like done this. I definitely probably should have just done that. There isn't really like he could try to make eyes down here, but this would actually be really difficult for him to make eyes down here because there are no eyes down there. So giving him another move up here was definitely not the best thing. But then again, him connecting that just basically takes away all of that. And then I do this, he does that. I'm going to just poke away all his eyes. That was actually a mistake by me. I should have just done this down here. Definitely should have just done that. Because he can't make extra eyes up here. Like there's no way he can actually make extra eyes up here. So I should have went down that way. But I did this. He does this. I disconnect. I do this. I know a lot of you are going to. I know a lot of you, a lot of SDK players, DDK players would actually connect and give him the eye. But just remember that if he takes the stone, it's a fake eye. And you have to. You don't do anything. You definitely just connect on this one. You don't want to give any more chances. He does this, you go up here, he does this, you just connect. He does this. This doesn't matter. That group down there is alive, and he doesn't have enough liberties to fight me anyways. He's really trying to kill this group, but that's irrelevant because I can just connect up here, and it lives. And then he does this, but see, this is only one eye, and I'm just going to kind of like kill this. Even if he Gote lives down here, and I do this, I'm still fairly far ahead because I already have this all this territory here, which basically is bigger than his corner, which is bigger than like 2 of his corners, and then I have this, all the thickness, and I can make a lot of territory here. But it doesn't matter because he's dead, and that's when he resigns. So this is, I know like a lot of people, a lot of players on Fox are completely obsessed with like getting corner territory, but you can't quite do that at the beginning of the game and give up so much influence. Because if the person you're playing against happens to know how to use that influence, you're going to be very, very sorry. Now, I played this wrong. I did play this game wrong because I know there is a cut right there. And that would have actually given me a lot of trouble. But just giving your opponent so much influence is not a good idea. And also, like I played this move and just where I could have just gone across. So that wasn't a great move by me either. But like giving your opponent all the influence and just taking the corners in the beginning is generally not a great idea, because then you're kind of just like struggling. And the Tengen, while useful, is not like super awesome. Yeah, like this invasion, I just feel like is a little too much right now. I know you want to break my Moyo, but I feel like this invasion is a little too much right now. It's like I'm a little too thick. Your group out here isn't all that. Your group out here just isn't really all that strong. So realistically, this is probably like the move, or rather, like this is probably the move you want to do here. Because there's a lot of ways to actually attack this. I probably didn't do it the right way. Yeah, I definitely didn't do it the right way. Because like that's not really the way you want to do this. Like if anything, like this move is probably like better. Doing something like this is probably better. Yeah, I definitely didn't do that the right way. Left a lot of errors there, but he didn't really take advantage of them. But just basically, like, influence can win over corner territory a lot of the times. I totally forgot about this cut. I definitely should have gone over here, because I should have been mindful of the cut and just definitely gone over here or something, because this is actually much easier to deal with. There's like no such cut over here, so I definitely made a mistake there. But this is basically a territory versus influence game. And influence won out this game, but that is the critical move that he missed. Hope you learned something. Like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button, and I will see you guys next time.